Lorna in Greenwich. Just a quick note. Actually, I'm going to not read that.
Because Lorna in Greenwich is going to move aside.
Lorna in Greenwich moves aside because... For Jessica from London.
Hi, guys.
Hi, this is Jessica Chastain, I think.
Yes, it is.
Hi, Jessica. I'm Simon.
I'm Mark. Hello, Jessica. Welcome to the programme.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. So let's talk about Miss Sloane, which is out next week. So we'll review it next week. We're going to talk about it now. Tell us about Elizabeth Sloane. Tell us about this extraordinary character that you're playing.
Elizabeth Sloane is a lobbyist in D.C. When we meet her, she's a conservative lobbyist, very successful, working for free enterprise and less government interference. The gun lobby tries to hire her to kill a bill that is approaching the House and to get women into guns. She decides it's not something she wants to do, so she goes and fights for the other side to try to get the bill passed. And it really is a thriller. We learn a lot about American politics. We learn about gender politics, and we never quite know what's going to happen next.
That's very good. That's a perfect plot summary. So can I just pick you? So would it be fair enough to say this is a bit like West Wing meets Michael Clayton?
That's a great thing to say,
okay,
because those are two things I love.
So when you were describing all the characteristics of Elizabeth there, she is work obsessed. She is extremely good at her job. But you also, I just want to ask you about this, because you said she's recruited, says she's a conservative lobbyist, and then the gun lobby tried to get her to work for them. And I think we can talk about this because this is quite early on in the film, and you've just referred to the moment. So they said, we want guns to be more female friendly. Can you help us with that? And you basically, Elizabeth Sloane laughs them out the room. You find the whole idea hysterical. So she's a conservative lobbyist, but there is a moral compass there.
Yes, but also in that room there is sexism present. I mean, I think someone says right before she starts laughing is, God created men and women and Samuel Colt made them equal.
Yes.
Which is incredibly demeaning, especially for someone like Elizabeth Sloane, who's smarter than anyone in that room. So I think for her, she's not, she doesn't need the gun lobby. She's fiscally conservative, but she is not about to be bought or demeaned by a man who thinks he's the most powerful one in the room.
The world of political lobbying is something which has been discussed and argued about for a very long time. Where did you go in DC? Who are the people that you follow to try and get a handle on how this world works?
Well, we had consultants for the film for lobbying, but for me, it was important to meet with women because, as we know, American politics is mostly it's a men's game, and I needed to talk to women that navigated those waters and were successful. So I met with about a dozen women, and they took me to Capitol Hill. I shadowed one of them at a fundraiser. I shadowed another one while they were lobbying their case. We got to talk about a lot of things: drug use in D.C. and sexism in D.C. and money in politics. And I don't know how I would have created this character without hanging out with these women. Also, fun fact, the majority of them were wearing black nail polish, which was really shocking to me because I think it was, I think it was because it's aggressive and it's still done. It's still polished and put together, but there is an intimidation factor with wearing black.
So have you assembled Elizabeth Sloane, obviously mainly from the script and your own thought process, but based on these small number of women who are doing this job now?
Absolutely. I also read Jack Abramoff's book. He's an American lobbyist who was very, very successful and did some very bad things and ended up in jail. And his book is a very good read. And that was very influential to me as well. And then I also based her off of my Hollywood agent, not in personality, but in the way that she enters rooms, in the way that she dresses, and the energy that she puts out in the industry.
And you said that there's obviously a lot of politics involved and there's a lot of gender politics involved. What mirror does this hold up, do you think, to the political process and the gender process in America at the moment?
Well, we were making the film originally, we thought it was about gun regulation and campaign financing. And then the closer we got to releasing it and watching the American election, realized how strongly gender politics are involved in this film. In the first debate between Trump and Hillary Clinton, media pundits were, giving Clinton a critique for being overprepared. I have never heard anyone have that critique before. I've never heard a man being criticized for being overprepared. I prefer the leader of a nation be overprepared. I prefer my taxi driver be overprepared. I think it's a good quality to have, but for some reason society feels threatened by women that are ambitious, that are prepared. And Elizabeth Sloane is she's absolutely a representation of that. And I think it's a call to arms for women to know that it's an all right thing to be.
This film's been directed by John Madden. Looking through the list of movies that you've made, you've worked with Guillermo del Toro, Catherine Bigelow, Terrence Malick, Chris Nolan. I mean, an astonishing collection of directors. Who do you have left that you really want to work with? Who's your ambition to work with?
Oh, there's so many. I would love to work with Michael Haneke. I would love to work with Andrea Arnold, Paul Thomas Anderson, Spike Jonze. It just could go on and on. Spielberg, I'd love to work with him. Coppola, Scorsese.
And Mark mentioned John Madden, who you worked with on The Debt, and who, of course, has directed this movie. And there's a nice tie in there because when we talked about The Debt, we had Tom Wilkinson on the movie, on the show.
Yeah.
And Tom, it was in that interview when he said, because in the credits it says, and Tom Wilkinson. And I said, how does that happen? And he said, you have to ask for the and. That's what you have to do. You ask for the and.
Big thing.
Anyway, and Tom also was on the show with Gugu Mbatha-Raw when they did Belle together. And Gugu Mbatha-Raw plays, she's like would you say it's fair enough to say she's the conscience of this film?
Absolutely. Of Miss Sloane? Absolutely.
Yes, of Miss Sloane, yes.
Yeah, Gugu is the heart, I think, of the film. She's the one that is able to reach into Elizabeth's humanity. And also a thing that I really like about the film is we see Elizabeth mentoring women, which I think is very important because I know I am where I am today because of the incredible women that have mentored me. And Elizabeth and Gugu's character, Esme, there is that very complicated relationship where Elizabeth is mentoring Esme. However, she oversteps the boundaries of what is appropriate and exposes some secrets that Esme is not ready to let the public in on.
Yeah, I think she's terrific in every film that we've seen her in. Gugu Mbatha-Raw just seems to be a transcendent presence. Can I ask you about the script?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a first-timer, isn't it? John Pereira,
yeah,
who wrote the screenplay, which I thought at times was like verging on Aaron Sorkin. It's very, there's lots of words, which you speak most of them, and it's very fast.
Absolutely. It's definitely in a Sorkin world. Johnny Pereira, he's an English gentleman, and I think he was living in Singapore. He had studied law and he was a lawyer, and he decided as soon as he paid off his college loans, he said, that's it. I don't like this job. He quit law, moved to Singapore, was teaching English, and he thought, I'm going to try my hand at screenwriting. And this is his first script, believe it or not. And I think it's so fantastic, and he's going to have such a career ahead of him.
Jessica, looking ahead, you're down as... Are you playing Tammy Wynette in George and Tammy? Is that happening?
Yeah, I'm going to do that with Josh Brolin as George Jones.
And can you tell us about preparing for that role?
Well, there's a lot of country music to listen to, and I've read her daughter's book, and I've worked with T-Bone Burnett, who's going to do the music for the film.
Wow,
we don't quite know.
It immediately sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to be so fun. I mean, that is a wig and hair, like that is a hair show and sequin show. And I just can't wait. We don't quite know when we're going to do it. But for me, I just want to start now because that's not a character that you just want to show up and wing.
And are you doing your own singing in it?
Yes, I am.
And I mean, that's a mountain to climb, surely, doing Tammy Wynette's singing.
Absolutely. It's a huge mountain to climb. I mean, we had in college, of course, we had singing classes, but country music is a whole new beast. And so thank goodness I'm working with the best. I mean, T-Bone Burnett really is an incredible artist, an incredible teacher. So it's a real pleasure for me.
And I remember Reese Witherspoon, when she was on a few years ago, talked about how T-Bone basically produced, and all the singing lessons and everything came from there. So if you've got T-Bone there, this is...
Well, it's also worth pointing out that Tom Hiddleston came on the show just last year and performed live with us, having done such a brilliant job. So obviously, Jessica, if you're back in the UK when George and Tammy comes out, will you have it? I think she said yes, didn't she? I heard yes. That's what I heard.
Absolutely not. Yeah. No.
And just one final point, Jessica, while you're with it, because we mentioned Tom Wilkinson saying "ask for the and." We then got an email from one of your co-stars in this film, Mark Strong.
Oh yes.
Who then introduced another aspect to this game, and he said you ought to have the Mark Strong but game, which is where you see a movie which features this
so and so, but somebody else.
Yeah,
oh no.
And that's Mark Strong's idea. Yes. Your co-star, he's another one of the moral hearts of this story.
And he did indeed coin the phrase "the Mark Strong butt game," and that is what he's referring to. Which
fantastic! Yeah. But who would want that? I mean, because that's a title like "and" is great because it's like we have this person and this person is like building up, and then you go.
But
we have this person, but we have this person.
However, the bad news
sorry about
this person's also on. Anyway, and it's a fantastic cast for Miss Sloane. It stars Jessica Chastain. Jessica, we really appreciate you talking to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.